This week on The Signal, Snow Day, hassle for grown-ups, heaven for kids.
And we find out that punk rock really is child's play.
Welcome to The Signal. I'm Al-Hakim.
And I'm Zoe Demarco. We're coming at you from the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia.
We're in the Terroir exhibition, a collection about Nova Scotia's roots. Immigration has a long history in Halifax. Much of that history is on display at Pier 21 Museum. This week at Pier 21, immigration and figure skating go hand in hand.
Sean Mott has more.
Getting ready for the World Championship, and they want to go to Washington with a bang.
Their music, adagio of 21st century.
Victor Kratz and Shay Lynn Bourne won the World Figure Skating Championships in 2003. They were the first North Americans to do so. Kratz won many medals for Canada, but he was an immigrant from Switzerland. Pier 21 is celebrating Kratz and many other immigrant figure skaters at its new exhibit. It's called Perfect Landings. It celebrates immigrants who've influenced Canadian figure skating. Stephen Schwinghammer is a historian at Pier 21. He hopes the exhibit sparks a dialogue.
We are hoping that a number of the visitors would be people interested in skating already. They're going to bring a lot of knowledge along, and so it's more of a knowledge exchange.
The exhibit is filled with artifacts, like Victor Kratz's 1998 Olympics outfit. Old skates and medals are also part of the exhibit. The exhibit opened Saturday and immediately attracted this skating fan.
I've been interested in figure skating since probably the 70s, and I come every year to the Canadian Championships because I love to watch the skaters from when they were 8 years old and now they're 28, and it's just nice to be able to watch them and their careers evolve.
The exhibit highlights how immigrants like Kratz have influenced Canadian sports and culture.
And I really hope that when people come to this exhibit, it makes them ask questions about immigration history. You know, we have in here cases of people coming effectively as refugees, humanitarian admission, now remarkable for their contributions to sport, right?
The National Skate Championships will begin on January 18th, and the Pier 21 skate exhibit will last until March. For The Signal, I'm Sean Mott.
There are some changes going on at a downtown yoga studio. They're offering new classes and moving away from a brand that's under fire. Rebecca Brown has the story.
At 42 degrees, our camera couldn't handle the heat, but these students are used to it. Now, new programs will be offered to them, but under a different name.
We used to be Bikram Yoga Halifax, and that meant we could only offer Bikram Yoga classes. The changing of the name allows us to offer more services, and 42 degrees, that's the heat. It's 42 degrees, 40% humidity. It's actually a really auspicious number.
Rebranding the studio shifts the focus away from international Bikram Yoga founder Bikram Chowdhury.
The fitness guru faces a number of sexual assault allegations from former students. Although the yoga series he brought over from India is practiced at 42 degrees, Johnston says there's only positive energy at her studio.
Now it feels like we're really opening up to allow good things to come in. The fitness world is changing. People want variety, so even though I really strongly believe in the Bikram Yoga series, I know that it's not necessarily for everybody.
The Bikram series differs from other hot yoga practices as it consists of 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises.
I definitely think that Bikram is the healthiest and the safest for your body, and also out of all the yogas that I've done, this practice has definitely made me feel the strongest and the best about myself.
Johnston says she'll still teach the Bikram series at her studio. She just won't use the name. For The Signal, I'm Rebecca Brown.
Namaste.
We've had some rotten weather this week, but it hasn't stopped some people from going out and having fun. Sarah Ray reports on last week's snow day.
Nobody knows how to spend a snow day better than a kid. It's a great time to play in snow forts. And eat them too.
Well, if I still had the free time, I probably might go sledding on Citadel Hill or something. There's enough snow up there, I can't even tell.
But while the kids are out having fun, some adults have more practical things to do. That means shoveling snow, dodging huge puddles on the sidewalk, and climbing over snowbanks. All just to get to work. But that doesn't stop them from wishing they could play like when they were kids.
The snowplow would always dump a huge amount in the front of our house, and we would make a tunnel through it every year.
Despite being grown-ups, this couple made time for some fun. They spent their snow day brushing up on their cross-country skiing.
You can step out of your door onto the sidewalk and just go skiing all around the city.
So with all these things to do, there's no excuse to stay indoors. For The Signal, I'm Sarah Ray.
We'll have more on the snow day after the break. But first, a look at what goes into putting a dinosaur together.
And a 4-year-old shows us that punk rock is for kids. Welcome back to The Signal. If you're under the age of 19, seeing a concert in Halifax can be hard. It's even harder when the only all-age venue in town isn't running like it used to. One group is working to renew the concert space. Brandon Young reports.
Good tunes, good vibes, and a good cause brought a small crowd out to Oasis Pub last Friday night. Bands such as Electric Spoonful rocked the stage in support of the Halifax Pavilion. Pavilion Youth Association member CJ Hill thinks the pavilion is vital to the local music scene.
I think that if everybody just lends a hand and tries to help improve the youth aspect of the city, then it'll flourish for years to come. If we don't embrace it now, then there won't be an industry in 10 years.
Hill hopes that the concert, which is the first of 6, will raise awareness and let the city know that people are still interested in the pavilion. Board members for the pavilion revealed that new arrangements with the city concerning rental of the venue have been made, but fundraising is still crucial as the city can no longer cover these costs as it did in the past. The pavilion has hosted all ages shows on the Commons for more than 20 years. The city owns the space, and changes to the rental agreements that it has with the PYA means that it doesn't subsidize costs like it used to. Councillor Way Mason was available to comment on the underusage. He says that new agreements have been already made for groups like the PYA to rent space, but the ideal time to reintroduce the pavilion to new youth is only now approaching.
So now we're hoping that this next iteration will build back up. We'll be able to get people in there doing music of all types, and hopefully we'll start to see a more vibrant, all ages music community again.
Mason is optimistic and says the pavilion could see regular programming as soon as February. The fundraiser included a crowd of 40 and raised $250 for the night. For Hill, he's strictly focused on fundraising for the month of January and couldn't be more clear with his goals.
Just to have an awareness in the city that we want the pavilion back, the youth want the pavilion back, and everyone in the music industry wants the pavilion back.
For The Signal, I'm Brandon Young.
Also downtown, some people are still trying to save the Khyber Center for the Arts. Their latest plan includes the building, a grant, and time to raise $3 million for renovations. Ashley Corbett has the story.
About 30 people gathered at the meeting inside the Halifax North Memorial Public Library on Gottingen Street to review plans to salvage the downtown Khyber Center for Arts. The meeting was held by 2 organizations trying to reopen the historical Barrington building and keep it going. The plan proposes renovations such as a new 4th floor, an elevator, a multi-purpose theater, and rentable retail space. Activists are asking regional council for time to raise the money and hoping for a one-time grant, too. The renovations will cost about $3 million, says Emily Davidson.
That's about $1 million and change less than what the city estimated, and we feel really confident with what we're proposing from that perspective.
If council approves the proposal, the Khyber supporters aim to raise the money within a year. Last year, the city identified the presence of hazardous asbestos in the Barrington building and terminated leases. Since then, the Khyber Arts Society has relocated twice. They are currently on Hollis Street. But Dartmouth-based musician and Khyber supporter Joel Plaskett doesn't think it should stay there. He says the roots of the original building run too deep.
It goes back a long way in terms of an affordable, unique place that has this kind of cross-pollination for all these people and in different disciplines. And it's a hard thing to replace. You can't just transplant it.
Wayne Mason is the downtown councillor. He says he's hopeful council will go along with the plan. It goes to City Hall at the end of the month. For The Signal, I'm Ashley Corbett.
Punk rock is a young person's game, but the band in this next story must be breaking some kind of record. Guillaume Lapointe-Gagné met the lead singer of Halifax's newest punk band.
The music scene in Halifax just got a little louder and younger. The band is called Problem Attic, and yes, they're fronted by a 4-year-old. Jude is the frontman of the band. He says he plays multiple instruments.
Play keyboard, play drums, I sing.
While they may not be the conventional band you're used to, they're finding their own unique style and sticking to it. Julian Morrow is Jude's guardian. He's also the guitarist of the band.
It's kind of a way for like Jude and I to hang out and make music together.
Jude and Julian created the band in order to be closer together. When they're not jamming or rocking out, they're playing games.
We keep booking, shows, at Gus's and the Seahorse or whatever,
But there are challenges to having a 4-year-old rocker in the band.
Yeah, I feel like our biggest challenge thus far is we're not able to play at bars.
But that's not going to stop the band. They've just released their first single, Roar, on Bandcamp and iTunes.
They've also come out with a music video to help them show off their talents. All proceeds will go to Jude's future education fund.
Yeah, any money that we do make, we're all just going to put in trust for Jude until he turns 18, and then he can either use it for his education, or if he decides he doesn't want to go to school, then it'll be sort of his call at that point.
Jude is one apple juice shy of his next breakthrough song. As for when that happens, there's only one thing on his mind.
Millions of dollars.
For The Signal, I'm Guillaume Lapointe-Gagné.
Putting a dinosaur back together is a massive project. It's best left to the experts. Sarah Connors watched them on the job.
It takes thousands of screws, hundreds of bolts, and a lot of manpower to put a dinosaur together. The Museum of Natural History is putting the finishing touches on its new dinosaur exhibit. The exhibit is from the American Museum of Natural History in New York. For the last 4 days, workers put pipes together, wired circuits, and bolted pieces of metal. Kelly Houghton travels with the exhibit. With all this hard work, she thinks it will be a success.
It's really great for little kids. Little boys especially love dinosaurs. They know all the names, and we've got a T-Rex model here. Everybody loves T-Rex. He's a celebrity.
But the Halifax curator says it's educational, too.
And this show really goes into more of the science and more of what really was happening.
Visitors to the exhibit can expect to see computer simulations of how dinosaurs moved, new technologies that reveal how they lived, as well as plant and animal fossils they lived with. Houghton says most of these dinosaurs are actually prop models. They're made by inserting posts together and attaching them with screws.
Well, the model right behind me, this is just one part actually, and it's on its post and it travels in a crate separate from its platform. We place it, we screw it down, and that's that.
And just how do they fit a giant dinosaur skull through the door?
That's just one piece, and it comes in a gigantic crate.
So the exhibit here will run until May, and then it will go back to the Museum of Natural History in New York. For The Signal, I'm Sarah Connors.
Winter is a good time for arts and crafts. At a flower store in Bedford, a woman from China is working to introduce a bit of spring from back home. Aya has the story.
Yiden Li is passionate about sharing her Chinese art and design of nylon flowers with people in Halifax. She says that the classes she offers bring together her Chinese culture with her new land.
Yes, I enjoy the teacher because come here, the people have fun.
This flower craft is called tori, and it first originated in Japan after World War II. Since then, it has spread throughout Asia. Yiden and her husband own a flower shop at Bedford.
I came down one morning, she had the lotus flower done,
But she thought it was kind of lonely, the lotus flower, and lotus grows in water, so she made some little goldfish to put in there as well. So those are rather unique. Our students love making these.
Yidin Lee says she's going to keep on teaching and improving her skills. For The Signal, I'm Al-Hakim.
After the break, a heated debate over city fire stations.
And the scoop on driver Dave's popular shuttle service. The car service is giving taxis a run for their money on rides to the airport. And some of the competition is signing up to drive. Cindy Skandari has more.
Just last week, Driver Dave's car service took almost 600 students to and from the airport. Mika Thompson is one of the students who hopped in the car.
My friend who I'm visiting, she says it's a lot cheaper, so I decided to take it, and yeah, it seemed like a much better deal. It's like half the price.
Dave's airport rush has sprouted hard feelings with their competition, taxi drivers. But to some taxi drivers, that doesn't matter. Amit Samuel has decided to go against the status quo and join Driver Dave's.
Well, I like to work with him because when I work with the other taxi cab, we sit around and wait.
The president of the Halifax Taxi Owners Association doesn't think Dave is a threat to the cab business.
Anybody that takes business from us is a concern. And I think initially there was a lot of talk that Driver Dave would have a big impact on us. But we haven't seen a big impact.
Kyle Stewart has been with Driver Dave's for 4 years, and he says the workload is constantly growing.
I could work 365 days a year solely on Driver Dave's work. That's how busy he is, and you know, I have my own customers and I have other companies that use me, but I honestly would not need them.
For The Signal, I'm Cindy Skandari.
People in Dartmouth have been very upset about some plans for their fire station. The intense debate came to a head last week. Sean Mott has the story.
Neighbors and career firefighters gathered outside City Hall before the council meeting. They were there to protest the plan, which would have made fire stations in Halifax, Dartmouth, and Sackville rely on volunteers for some overnight shifts. The plan was announced in November and has sparked a public outcry over safety. In council chambers, firefighters and concerned citizens filled the seats. Councillor Bill Karsten said there's misinformation about the plan, but voted against it anyway.
What becomes equally as important to public safety is the perception of public safety.
Councillors voted down the plan 11-5 after a 2-hour discussion.
We have to weigh all the aspects of this, not just numbers and not just statistics, but the hard facts and the views of the people. And that's what politicians do.
Although the council voted no on the motion, they did say they would debate further on about what to do with the fire stations. For The Signal, I'm Sean Mott.
Reporter Emma Jones spent her snow day on Citadel Hill with some kids and a smartphone. Here's what went down.
Don't think no school means sleeping in. These kids have planned a jam-packed day of activities.
Tackle, I think. Tackle people.
Yeah, what else?
Sledding. Sledding. Yeah, chocolate. Oh, playing video games. Hot chocolate. Yeah. Snow angels and playing Clash of Clans.
But everyone knows the most important part of any snow day is sledding. This girl considers herself to be a bit of a toboggan expert.
So, this sled is very good to go down because it has like a plastic bottom, so it slides down pretty easily. And it's really comfortable too.
We gave these boys our iPhone to show us just how fast they really can ride.
Get up.
After sledding comes tackle wars. You can't go wrong with a good old-fashioned snow tackle.
This is Emma Jones.
For more local stories from the King's Journalism School, tune in to the Radio Room. They're live on 88.1 CKDU at 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday.
And check out our daily online news site at signalhfx.ca. Tune in next week when we investigate the rising price of food.
And we'll also talk about those controversial fines for jaywalking.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Signal. I'm Zoe Demarco.
And I'm Al-Hakim.